there is a branch, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The space weather describes the variations in the space environment between the sun and earth. In particular, space weather describes the phenomena that impact systems and technologies in orbit and on earth. Space weather can occur anywhere from the surface of the sun to the surface of the earth. This means that when we talk about space weather as a term, whole term, then space is restricted to sun earth system, and it is limited. So space weather deals with the sun, whatever is happening on sun, and how it is going to affect the earth. Yesterday we in details saw how sun actually works, its structure and everything, and how eruptive it is, how many other radiations or particles are emitted, and how much energy is emitted every day in day-to-day life. So how these all things actually affect the earth, or does it affect the earth? That is a question. All these things are actually being studied in the space weather. So first, as we know about the sun, I'll little talk about the earth in detail today. So earth, we know, is a unique planet. Why earth is a unique planet? Because, of course, we have life on earth. So by far, the scientists or researchers, whoever tried to look for any other life, known life, they have not successful about their research. So they are trying, but we have till now not found any known life on any other planet than earth. So in this way, the earth is a very unique planet. Yesterday we saw the sun is ultimate source of energy for our solar system. So if we restrict ourselves to our own planet earth, then whatever we are getting, that is from sun. So whatever energy, everything, it is from sun, and that's how sun is very important to us. But does the sun emit only useful energy? Yesterday, Dr. Silva told many other forms of energy which is being emitted. There are eruptions. So all these are we don't want. So here is the classification for which we want, some energy which we want, and something which we don't want. So whatever comes in we want category is light. It means that visible light, radio, and heat. That means higher radiations. And what we don't want any harmful high frequency radiations, any harmful particles, or any other harmful GCRs. GCR refer to galactic cosmic rays. It means that anything which is coming from any other space, not only sun, but from any space. So that is called GCR. So all these things which we don't want. Now, when we look at electromagnetic spectrum, it extends from, okay, here we are going to look at what are gamma rays. I got a question from Arush. So this is the electromagnetic spectrum you see on screen, is the electromagnetic spectrum of sun. Okay, so from our sun, what we are getting is gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, we have visible light, we have infrared rays, radar, FM, TV, shortwave, and AM. This radar from AM is nothing but the radio frequencies, which we actually have for our communication system. So gamma rays are the most energetic, as we can say, and they are the high frequency radiations. So if you go from radio frequency, from say right to left, if you move, the frequency increases and the wavelength decreases. So frequency and wavelength are not proportional. Okay, so this is how it goes. So gamma rays are the highest frequency rays which are emitted by sun's radiations. So these are kind of radiation. So we know this visible light, which means that all the colors which we see, on Earth and everywhere. So this visible light is falling somewhere in between in whole spectrum. So if we take this spectrum from visible light to right side, say up to radio waves, all these things are useful to us. But ultraviolet, X-rays and gamma rays are not at all useful for us. They are very high frequency. If somebody, I don't know, because we have participants from all the levels, if somebody knows anything about little higher level physics, then we have one simple equation, that is energy is equal to h nu. So where nu is the frequency. So if we take E is energy, E is equal to h nu means higher the frequency, higher is the energy. It means that gamma rays will be at the highermost energy level, which we don't want at the Earth. Now, who decides what to take and what not to take? I mean, it is not us who actually tell that, okay, these are the things which we want. Okay, so sun, you don't send any harmful radiations to us or any other particles. Here, just we are talking about the radiations strictly. So it is the Earth's atmosphere which is a little biased towards us. We can say it is a partial for having the life on Earth. So if you know something about Earth's atmosphere, I'll just tell you in brief that this is Earth, say in left diagram, you can see Earth. From Earth upwards, almost it is like 5% of thickness or less than 5% of thickness is what we have in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is divided into different layers according to its physical properties. So somewhere in the atmosphere the temperature is high, somewhere it is less, somewhere it is again increasing, somewhere pressure is different, somewhere density is different, density of the particle is different, somewhere composition is different. So according to these all things, the atmosphere is divided into different layers, and these are troposphere, which is the lowermost layer of the atmosphere and which is attached to the surface of the earth. Then we have stratosphere, we have mesosphere, and we have thermosphere. So whatever radiations are coming from sun first will hit the thermosphere. So what happens is, because thermosphere has the uppermost layer of the atmosphere has very less density, and here the particles are not in their molecular or atomic form. So their sizes will be very much small. Accordingly, the waves are absorbed here in the thermosphere. So whatever high frequency radiations are there, they typically get absorbed in this particular area. Then some come down here and some come down up to stratosphere. Now we know that stratosphere is the layer where the ozone is actually being formed. So what happens is, in stratosphere, the oxygen is in its molecular form. So when UV light, that is the ultraviolet radiation of the spectrum, hits the ozone O2 particle, that is molecular oxygen, it actually dissociates the oxygen. So we get O plus O. Now this O, when connects with again second molecular oxygen, that is O2, it forms ozone. So this is how UV light is being absorbed in dissociating the O2 and again forming the O3. So in that way, ozone in the stratosphere is very much important because it prevents to have UV light reaching to the surface of the earth. So all these harmful radiations are being absorbed by all these three layers, and what we get in on the surface of the earth is visible, IR and radio, which are very much helpful to us. Ma'am, okay, again there is a question, ma'am, are these radioactive rays also existed in atomic? Okay, these are not radioactive rays, these are radiations. Radiation means electromagnetic waves. So don't confuse these two terms. The radiation is different and radioactive is different. Okay. Chetan is asking that the International Space Station is in thermosphere or out of it. Yes, it is there in the thermosphere. So when just little extending your question, when some space shuttles or satellites or any communication satellites are being projected into the space, uh, we have to take care of all these things. So whatever is coming from that's what we are actually going to learn today. That is about space weather. How these, if whatever balance is there in the system, if it changes, then what happens? That's what we are going to learn today. Now, we talked about the atmosphere, which is actually protecting us, the life on the earth. So atmosphere is very much useful to us, and that's why we have life. But what protects the atmosphere? You might have heard that some of the planets, like very near planets like Mercury, the whole atmosphere was vanished. So they have very little or thin atmosphere, or they have toxic gases in it. So basically, for Earth, what is so special that our atmosphere is favoring everything to us? So one short answer for this is the magnetosphere. The Earth has a very unique thing. It is not only limited to Earth, other planets also have magnetosphere. But for Earth, why I'm saying it is unique? Because it is actually protecting many things. So this is in diagram, you can see there is Earth, and say Earth acts as a very big bar magnet, then this is how the Earth's magnetic field will look like. So of course Earth has its magnetic field, and the magnetic axis and the geographic axis is little bit tilted. They have angle of 11 degrees, almost 11 degrees in between. So magnetic axis is little tilted. Now, the question is how magnetosphere protects our atmosphere. Before going into detail about this, we just will talk about the magnet and magnetic field. So we'll come to know what exactly the phenomena is all about. So magnet, as we know, it is the substance which actually attracts some of the metals like iron, nickel, and cobalt, like these things. And the magnet always has two poles, N and S, that is north and south, and these are the magnetic field. It means that from north the magnetic field is created, and it ends at the south pole, and at the poles the magnetic field lines are almost open. Now open field line concept is, when we say it is open field line, it is not exactly open, but it is, if you see here, it can extend like this, but where it is meeting, the magnetic field is so weak that the strength is not working here. That's why we say that the magnetic field lines are open here. So the field of magnet is not working beyond certain limit. Now when we come to the Earth's magnetic field, the Earth is also similar as bar magnet, a huge bar magnet which has two poles, that is north and south. Now here you can see that the north is at southern pole of the Earth, and south magnetic pole is located in the northern hemisphere. I'll talk more about this in the next slide. So as I showed you here, as like this bar magnet, it means that it has two poles. It means dipolar. The dipolar field typically looks like this. So Earth is almost like a bar magnet. So its field is also kind of dipolar, but it is not a perfect dipolar. So if nothing is disturbing the Earth's magnetic field, the magnetic field of Earth will actually look like this. But in truth, it is something different. It is not a perfect dipolar field. So how the Earth's magnetic field actually looks like? So this is something called distorted dipolar structure of the Earth's magnetic field. Now, who distorts it? The culprit is again the sun here. So if we take here Earth, the sun is located at the left of the Earth. The solar wind is coming. You can see here. Now you know about the solar wind. What is solar wind? From yesterday's lecture. So here solar wind comes. Now what happens is these solar wind particles, as Dr. Silva told you, that these are nothing but the charged particles, very energetic particles. So these are charged particles. Now what happens is the magnetic field does not allow these charged particles to come in directly. So these particles are deviated here like this. So what happens is it shrinks the day side. We call this as day side. This is the night side because sun is here. So day side magnetic field is shrinked. It is pressurized. It is pushed inward. So day side magnetosphere is little bit compressed, whereas night side magnetic field lines are elongated. So if we talk in terms of distance, the day side magnetosphere ends somewhere around 10 to 11 RE. RE means Earth radii. So here it is almost up to 11 RE, whereas at night side it can extend up to 30 to 40 RE. So you can think it is kind of teardrop kind of, shaped cavity is there, and this cavity is called as magnetosphere of the Earth. There are different portions in the magnetosphere, as you can see here in the diagram, and this all because of the sun. So sun's energy and a little bit from Earth's atmosphere, which we call as ionosphere, contribute towards these regions. Now I told you that the Earth is a huge bar magnet, or Earth has a magnetic field. But how do we came to know about this all thing, that Earth has a magnetic field? So what happened is, there is a very simple experiment. It means that you just hang a bar magnet anywhere. At your place, you just hang a bar magnet. It always points towards north and south direction. So it aligns in the north-south direction. And this is how we came to know, okay, the magnet is actually attracting in a particular direction. It means that it has to have some other magnet to decide its position or decide its alignment. Now we know that if we take two bar magnets, then the north of one bar magnet is attracted by the south of the other bar magnet, and vice versa. So when we suspend a bar magnet in Earth, on Earth's surface, anywhere in the Earth, then what happens? The bar magnet where the North Pole is located, it means that there has to be something south which is attracting this north, and the south is attracted by something which is north. And that's why, as I told you, or as I showed you here, the south and north pole are exactly oppositely located to the geographic poles. So magnetic south pole is actually at the geographic north pole, and the north magnetic pole is at the south pole. So I think you may be clear why this magnetic poles thing is there. So as I told you, this is how it is attracted to the opposite poles. Now the question is, how and where the magnetic field is generated. This whole magnetic field, which is very useful to us, how it is generated. So we will go to the structure of the Earth, which has the core, that is inner core and outer core. We have mantle and we have crust. So somewhere in the outer core, where the particles, the inner core is in solid form, the outer core is in the liquid form. So outer core has many materials which are like, in liquid form. So those are like nickel, cobalt, and all those things. So with the revolution of Earth, these all things rotate. The inner core, the outer core also rotates because it is a fluid form. And this how it forms a dynamo. If you know a simple dynamo action, so anything which is rotating, it creates a field. Okay. So we call here it as a geodynamo. So all these things are actually rotating in the outer core, and that generates the magnetic field for the earth. Now, this is one movie which you already uh, saw yesterday by Dr. Silva. Again, I want to play because we will form a basis. Okay, it's not being played. Fine. So what happens is, if you have carefully looked at the movie, something astonishing is happening at the poles. So we will discuss now the effects of these solar wind interaction or solar particle, solar radiation interaction with the earth and its atmosphere. So as I told you that the magnetosphere is actually not allowing the particles in the day side. So what happens is they get deflected and they reach the night side. Now here the magnetic field are stretched, and they are stretched so much that somewhere the neutral point is formed. Neutral point means what? The reconnection happens. So if you again remember yesterday's lecture, any two magnetic field lines which are opposite in direction, it means one is northward, one is southward, then they can reconnect. And once they reconnect, it means whatever energy or whatever particles are there, they can actually follow the magnetic field line path. It means that the particles can come like this. So they follow the magnetic field line paths and they get precipitate here at the poles. Now, again we know at poles what is there? We have atmosphere, we have some particles there upside the earth. So whenever these high energetic particles which are coming from here, they deposit their energy here, what happens is the whatever atomic structure or particles here, they actually go into the excited state. So this is a very basic chemistry. We know that what is excited state? The electron jumps from the ground level to the higher level. Now again after some time, because as the excited state is very unstable state, after some time the electron again comes back to its normal position, that is to the ground state, and in this particular process or reaction some energy is emitted. Now this energy which is emitted, it is in the visible range of the electromagnetic spectrum, and that's how we can see aurora or northern lights, southern lights. All these names are there, and we can see dancing lights in the sky if we are at the higher latitudes or polar subpolar latitudes. So this is how these are the beautiful photos of the aurora. If somebody of you can go to these higher latitudes, then you may witness this dancing lights on the in the sky. Now you can see here it is like green, purple or reddish. It means that it depends, the color depends on the molecular structure or the particle in that particular region. If some particles, say oxygen is very high, then a particular wavelength is emitted. If nitrogen is there, a particular wavelength, that means a particular color of light is emitted. Now second effect of this particular whole thing is that a geomagnetic storm. So I remember yesterday Dr. Silva had mentioned about the geomagnetic storm. I'll actually tell you what is geomagnetic storm. So here we saw this is the sun. Now we know there is earth and its magnetic structure is there. This is how a magnetosphere looks like. Now what happens is when some big emission from the sun is emitted, like coronal mass ejection, or like those particles, very heavy energetic particles which are having very high velocity, high speed, they are coming towards earth, then what happens is they can alter, they can actually imbalance the whole system. And in simple words, I say that because the earth has its atmosphere, and in atmosphere we have a layer known as ionosphere. So ionosphere has some charged particles. All this make something called a ring current thing. So I will not go in very much detail about the ring current, but you can say that the electrons in the atmosphere of earth, in the space of the earth, they actually drift towards east, and the protons, they drift towards the west. So it is eastward and westward motion of electrons and protons respectively, or electrons and ion respectively. So because of this, a current system is formed at the earth, in the space of the earth, and this current system is basically known as a ring current. Now here we know that when coronal mass ejection, a big ejection is emitted from the sun, when it reaches towards the earth, of course there are charged particles in this, and they contribute to little bit decay this particular current system. Now we know that current can be actually measured in terms of magnetic field. So here in lower panel you can see there is a graph, and this is H. H means the horizontal component of magnetic field. So you can now see here. What happens is, in normal times when there is nothing, everything seems to be very normal, the sun is quiet and everything is there, then what happens? The zero line is maintained. It means zero means it is not the actual value, but it is the normal value which we have on the earth, the magnetic field strength of the earth, we can say. So this is maintained. But when a big mass is getting emitted, or something which is coming towards earth, because it harms the current system, the current decays, and it can be seen as a dip in the magnetic field. So that's why it is called as a geomagnetic. Geo means earth and magnetic means it is related to magnetic. So a geomagnetic storm arrives. So whenever this value is more than say 100, it is because it is in negative. If it is less than minus 100, then we can say that it is a very intense geomagnetic storm. Now, why all these things are important to study, I'll tell you in the later slides. Before that, we will again go to some other effects of the sun-earth system and the magnetosphere. So because of the earth's magnetic field, as I told you, there are charged particles coming from the sun. There are charged particles inside the atmosphere of the earth. How? Because the sun's radiation actually hit the atmosphere, and there the ionization takes place, where in the atmosphere of the earth. So there is something called as ionosphere. Okay. So all these are charged particles. We have magnetic field lines. So what happens is, these all charged particles get trapped into the magnetic field. Getting trapped into the magnetic field means what? They are not able to move from their position. So what happens is, there are three types of motion. The charged particles can actually gyrate. It means that this gyration is there, something like this. They can be trapped in this. Once they come here, what happens? Due to some reasons, the particles again bounce to the opposite hemisphere, like this. So there is gyration, there is bouncing motion of the particle, and some particles, they can drift to the different magnetic field lines if the gyro radius favors it. So there are typical three types of motion: gyro motion, bounce motion, and drift motion. All these motion contribute to the trapping of charged particles into the magnetosphere of the earth. Now these are very energetic particles, and if something say charged particle balance is altered here, then it can harm the satellites in space, because this is the space where most of the communication satellites are placed. Okay, if we have any planetary mission, so if say we are planning a mission from the earth which is going to Mars, it has to cross these belts also. So these are called as Van Allen radiation belts. So we have to take care of all these things. that nothing should harm. Whether these are things are there, they are in balance, they are normal. If not normal, then what precautions to be taken at the launch of the satellite or mission. So all these things have to be calculated, all these things have to be studied carefully before launching a mission, before placing a satellite into the space. So now here it is briefly shown that what if there is no geomagnetic field, or we can say that these are the space weather effects. So what happens is, when this geomagnetic storm, as I told you, this geomagnetic storm happens, then what happens? As I told you, this is a kind of current system. So extra current is induced in the electrical circuits of the earth. It means that we know transformers are there. The big transformers which actually provide electricity to whole region, whole area or whole city. So these transformers are very much, big. They are like 2 stories, 3 stories, like this much big transformers are there. Now this particular geomagnetic storm, what it does is it induces the currents in the in that particular system. So extra currents, because of extra currents in the system, the whole transformer can burn out. If the transformer burns, then what happens? The whole electric power failure will be there, and the whole city or whole area will be out of light for some period of time. And this has happened. It is not just theory, or it is not a phenomena. This all things have happened in the past, and that's how we actually are much more worried about this kind of storms. So every time we have to think of sun, what is sun doing, if it is normal or not, if it is eruptive or it is very active, then how it is going to harm our earth. If we can predict such thing is coming, then what we can do, we can just switch off our power, our satellite systems, electronic systems in this space. We can take precautionary actions. So that's why all these things have to be monitored very carefully. So this is one of the thing which is like power outage can happen if there is no magnetic field, or if the magnetic field of the earth is distorted. Then of course it can be seen on the compass may behave very weirdly if something happens to the magnetic field. Again, because we know some animals and some birds sense the geomagnetic field, and they actually then decide if they want to migrate or not. So what happens, this geomagnetic field distortions can affect them also. So birds and animals migration can be affected. As I told you, these are very high energetic particles. These are charged particles. So they can harm our satellites, because satellites is nothing but we have electronic systems on our satellites. So whatever instruments are there, solar panels are there, those can be damaged because of these high energetic particles. So we have to take care of all these things. Now, if there is no geomagnetic field, not at all any